Let me begin by telling you a story. I was almost in an accident today. I was driving home from work. I was driving on the highway, and there was a car to my right. And the driver of this car was looking down at their hand, and sure enough, there was a cell phone in their hand. Before I knew it, this car was drifting into my lane, and I had to slam on my brakes and swerve to the left. I was almost in a serious accident. I could have been seriously injured or even killed. I could have caused a pileup on the highway, and several others could have been injured or killed. That is why I'm going to talk to you about texting and driving. I was almost a statistic. I could have been killed with my car, a torn up piece of metal on the side of the road. This almost happened to me, and it could very easily happen to you. And I don't want that to happen to you or anyone else. So please listen to what I have to tell you. We are facing a global epidemic, and this global epidemic is known as texting and driving. 20 years ago, we didn't have this problem. But now that our technology has advanced, our cell phones are fancier and cooler. Not only can we call people up and talk to them over the phone, but we can text message them, and we can browse the web right on our phones. Unfortunately, some people decide to do this while they're driving, and this is a terrible, terrible mistake. According to DistractedDriving.com, 421,000 people are injured every year due to texting and driving. Even worse, 6,000 people are killed every year due to texting and driving. This is obviously a serious problem. Imagine you are driving, then the next thing you know, you wake up and you're in a hospital. Your legs are numb. Your arms are numb. You're in pain. And then you realize you're in a hospital bed. You're in the hospital. And you're probably in the intensive care unit. And then you find out you're paralyzed from the waist down. Was that last text message really worth it? Or could it have waited? Or imagine yourself visiting the morgue to identify a family member. Unfortunately, your family member was a victim of texting and driving. Was that text message worth it? What if you were the last person to send your loved one that fatal text message? Would you feel guilty? Would it hang over your head for the rest of your life? I know it would if it were me. Could that text message have waited? Was it worth it? Of course not. This is why many cities and states have made it illegal to use your cell phone while you're driving, and rightfully so. 421,000 people injured, 6,000 people dead. And that doesn't even include the total amount of collisions where no one was hurt or killed, thankfully. But I'm sure the number is far greater than 421,000. Since it's illegal, you can receive a ticket just for using your cell phone while driving. Tickets can be expensive. Collisions are also very expensive. And losing your life is the most expensive loss of all. As you see here in this video presentation, this presentation not only shows you facts about texting and driving, but it shows you the carnage that texting and driving can cause. You also see the faces of victims, people who are victims of texting and driving. This is no joke, folks. Now, perhaps you already know better. You don't text and drive, and that's a good thing. I commend you for that. But you still need to be aware of your surroundings. What would have happened to me if I wasn't aware of that car to my right? I would have been in a crash, no doubt about it. Not everyone is going to obey the law like you do, so you have to watch out for them. When you drive, you should use the IPDE method of driving. Identify, predict, decide, and execute. This is how my dad taught me how to drive. As you're driving, you should be constantly scanning the road for hazards. As you're identifying these potential hazards, you need to predict the worst possible thing these hazards can do, such as a car pulling out in front of you from the right. So then once you decide what this potential hazard is going to do. You need to decide what your escape plan is going to be. How are you going to deal with this potential hazard? And then, when this potential hazard becomes a real hazard, when this car swerves into your lane, you need to execute the escape plan that you originally decided upon previously. The bottom line is this: don't text and drive. It can wait. It's not worth getting a ticket. It's not worth getting in a wreck. It's not worth losing your life. Thank you for hearing me out today. And remember, don't text and drive safe. Thank you.